Oh, it's just, yeah. First tomatoes of the year. I just want to bite into it, but it looks like it's got a little piece of bird poop on there, so I'm going to have to wash it. Bummer. But I think this is Early Girl. And you can see we're back here in the front yard food forest. And this is where I've got my tomatoes. If you haven't seen from the last video of me doing the tour, this is where I have a lot of my tomatoes. I've also put some over here in the wood chip garden, and I'm going to take you over there in just a second. But finally got our first tomatoes, and look at them. Look at them just vining all over here. The pawpaws, and there's a plum tree right here. And all this grass that I mow on both sides gets tossed into here. I just blow it right into there. You can see how thick it is. It's just like sprayed onto the cage I've got in there. But nice layer of it. And I just let these guys kind of go. My wife keeps coming out here and putting a stick underneath them and trying to get them up off the ground. But I'm not doing big tomatoes this year. I did get some Black Krim, which are a little bit bigger than Early Girl, but I've always been a big proponent of smaller tomatoes. You get more tomatoes, more pounds of tomatoes per plant than just a giant one. And I've grown big, pineapple tomatoes and beefsteak tomatoes, and right as they start to turn color like this, something takes a big bite out of them. And I'm putting them out here, and see, she's got her little stick right there, but there's new suckers growing right up here. More tomatoes going to be there. It's just going to be all tomatoes in here. All tomato vines. They're just going to spread and have a bunch of tomatoes everywhere. But I've got one more tomato right over here on this little guy, right in here in between the mulberry trees. And you can see they're just resting right on some grass. And I'm going to pick this guy right here too. And right where that little elbow is, I push down and pull back, and it usually snaps right off. Sometimes it doesn't go as planned. There we go. And I don't want to... There we go. I was going to say, I don't want to take off this little cap because then it'll ripen up or rotten too quick. Gosh, it's just the middle of June and I've already got a couple tomatoes. Even the cherry tomatoes I put in, they've got little tomatoes on there. But Early Girl, this is the first time I've grown Early Girl at home. I've grown them in greenhouses and stuff like that, and in community gardens. But it's been a few years. Oh, I got my little doggy right here. Hey, look at him. What, you like the tomatoes too? Huh? Come here. Go on. Alright. But I haven't done Early Girl here in the food forest. And this was the first time. And it's nice. It's nice to get these tomatoes. We're talking like 55 to 65 days for Early Girl for decent medium-sized tomatoes. And this is about as big as I'd like to go. My wife likes the bigger beefsteak tomatoes, the slicing tomatoes and stuff. But cherry tomatoes and then medium-sized tomatoes, especially early ones, you get a lot of production out of it. Well, the next thing I'm going to talk about is something that you've never heard me talk about, or never seen me do, because I've never done it. I mean, not for myself anyways. When I worked at nurseries and stuff like that, and actually when I worked in North Carolina for this golf course resort place community garden, they had chicken bone and blood meal and alfalfa meal that I would amend the soil with before I would do a bunch of beds and plantings for certain people if they asked me to do that. If they needed a bunch of lettuce planted with some radishes and everything like that. But you've never seen me talk about me adding fertilizer to anything, and that's because I don't. I don't add fertilizer to anything. If you look around, everything is already pretty lush. Picking the right property for what you want to do with it, and if that what you want to do with it is growing fruit trees and growing gardening or growing gardens, you try to want to look for the best fertile land, cheapest land, I guess, that you can possible. And so I've been pretty fortunate that the property that we did pick grows things very well, and trees do good. You know, you can put a tomato in an area that you don't mow for about 3 or 4 years and just add sticks and mulch and everything like that. You don't amend the soil, you don't add fertilizer, you just stick it in there, and you know, the worms break everything down where it's soluble, and the bugs do the same thing, so the roots can take in the nutrients. So, what am I doing? What the hell am I talking about? Well, I've got some tomatoes growing over in the wood chip garden, and I put those in there, and some are doing fantastic. Some are doing absolutely fantastic, and some of them aren't being able to absorb the nutrients because the roots aren't down deep enough. There's probably more wood chips than there is actually, you know, soil, and I didn't bury a lot of them very deep. I didn't go all the way down to the ground through the wood chips. I just kind of went down to where some of the wood chips were already broken down, where you've got that good mixture of wood chips and basically bugs and everything have started turning it into soil. So some of them are just kind of, they're not doing as good as the other ones. So what do I want to do? I want to give them some chicken shit, and I have a lot of it. I've been like saving it. It's kind of weird, but it's funny. I got rid of my chickens 1.5 years ago, and we loved our chickens. We had them in here, and even while I had them, I didn't use their chicken poop for fertilizer, which is one of the best fertilizers. It's actually, you know, chickens or bird poop. And the reason why is because of the way it's like everything. It's like urine and everything. I'm not going to get into it, but there's a lot of nitrogen in bird poop. And I'm going to show you guys my old chicken coop. And this is going to be kind of scary. I'm going to warn you. It's pretty nasty. I don't want to go in there because there's just so much shit in there. But I've been putting stuff in there, which is kind of weird. But I've been putting stuff like doors and windows that I've been pulling out of the dump when I go and drop off my my garbage and stuff like that there. I've been like scavenging a bunch of stuff out of the dump, a little local county dump, and I've put a bunch of lumber and stuff like that in here also. But what I did just the other day was I put some old jugs that I've gotten right down here in these bikes, these bike pedal. I want to use those for making like some bike blenders, or you know, power some lights with the bike and all that other stuff, because they're set up for it, and they're old workout bikes. And I've gotten those two out of the dump. I've gotten all these windows and these doors and everything. We got some chicken wire in there and wood and just crap, you know, just old stuff. And I didn't clean the chicken coop out when we got rid of the chickens, so there's still a bunch of feathers back there and a bunch of old chicken poop and all kinds of stuff. But the only thing living in here right now is probably maybe the occasional mouse and a ton of hornets. You can see their nests up there. There's like one in the door right here, and they try to get me every time I open it. But right here, where a bunch of them perched at, they'd perch up there on the top, and they'd perch here. There was a nice little pile. You can kind of see what's left of it. And there was a nice pile, and I kind of had to get it out of the way to put that in there. And I was going to use it in the garden, and it was a good thing I did that about a week or two ago, because some of the tomatoes are just don't look as nice as some of the other ones, and I could leave them alone, but let's just have some fun with it. Let's throw some chicken shit at it and see what it does. Now you might say, chicken, won't it mess it up? Isn't it too hot? Isn't it too much fertilizer for them? Well, when it comes to tomatoes, it's not too hot. I've seen tomatoes literally growing right in crap. And this is disgusting, guys. This is some nasty stuff. I don't even want to get near it to film it. But I took a bunch of it, and a couple shovels full, and it was just dry. So I added some water to it. And this is just like some, oh, that's gross. Let me stir it up. There's flies and everything in there. Ooh. Good thing you can't smell it. Oh, 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 man. Ugh. Now, I talk about it all the time. That if you, whoo, woo, woo, that's ripe. Oh yeah, that's ready. Ooh. Whew. It's in my nose. Ugh. This is ridiculous. If you do the right things when it comes to building soil, you won't need to fertilize anything. You won't need to be adding stuff to it. And what I mean by doing the right things, this is a lot of the soil is clay. When I say this land was fertile, it wasn't necessarily that much. It's just yard. They just mowed it out here, and you couldn't get the shovel down into it. You couldn't get the shovel down in it because it was just hard, dry clay, basically. And so a lot of it still is. A lot of it still is, but because I stopped mowing whole patches, oh my gosh, I can smell it from over here. Whoo! Ooh! This is turning into a bad idea. But I stopped mowing patches, and where I haven't mowed for the last 4 years, I've added sticks, I've added grass, I've added wood chips, and you're just constantly adding to it. Instead of taking away, you're adding to it. And in those areas, you could take the shovel, I could take my hands down into the ground and get in it. Let's do that. Let me show you what the hell I'm talking about. This is just ground. Where I mow, it's pretty hard and solid. But let's go right down in here. Oh, look, there's some raspberries. My ADD's kicking inside my path. There we go, here's some. Look at this. Looks like just grass, right? Well, there's some wood chips down there, and look, I can stick my hand down in there. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh, yeah. That's good stuff to grow in. The weeds love it. In fact, I'm going to get this giant ragweed out of here. Oh, wow. I pull out one and there's 100. Another day. Anyways, if you're doing the right things, if you're building soil, if you're turning clay soil and just building with it, wood chips, leaf mulch, take all the leaves at the end of the year and pile it up. Grass is just a accumulation, bioaccumulation. You won't need to fertilize anything. But with wood chips, if you've got a lot of it's just basically a soilless medium. It's like hydroponics. You're basically just growing your vegetables in hydro. And so you're going to have to add nutrients to it. I came back over here. Oh my gosh. Oof, I need to get that thing away from my house. Whew, I was just going to take a shovelful, but I don't know. I'm going to have to do something with that. Can I taste it? This is horrible, guys. But what I want to do is I happen to take some of the dry chicken shit that's been in the chicken coop since I got rid of them. Add some water to it and see if it'll help the tomatoes out there. And I'm gonna stop talking and just get this done. Oh, it's just, yeah, this ain't my thing. I don't add fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, natural fertilizer, nothing. If I'm going to plant something and it does bad, that's, that's my fault. And a lot of gardening's an experiment. And what I do know, though, is that tomato seeds will grow right out of chicken poop. Right out of poop. I don't know if I want to tell this story, but some of you guys probably know that when you're in your neighborhood, when the septic's back up and they flood all the ditches around your houses and stuff like that, sometimes you got weird random tomatoes growing everywhere. Well, that's probably one of the reasons why, but they'll grow right out some poop. And I just want to add some water to that And I'm gonna get, whew, what am I doing talking there? Oof. Oh, it's following me. Oh. It doesn't even smell like chicken poop. It smells like something nasty. Now I've had the hose out here. I just watered it early this morning. This wood chip garden. We haven't had any rain almost since the 1st of June. It's just been really dry. It keeps going around just my little area. So I watered it really good, and it's still pretty wet because it's been wanting to rain all day, but it kind of did and kind of didn't. But yeah, here's the garden. Here's the wood chip garden. And there's a few tomatoes that I think could use it. Yeah. They don't look as big as their brothers and sisters. Like this one right here is doing pretty good. This little puny little thing we'll give a shot to. And yeah, we'll try. Just feed them all. Give it all to them. Some of them are starting to lean over a little bit. And oh, it's disgusting. Oh, it's starting to splat. Oh. Oh, smells like a damn porta potty or something. Don't even smell like chicken shit. It's disgusting. Alright. Got a couple more left. Oh, it's getting thick. Oh, yeah. I don't think I gave any of these guys. Oh, a little bit of that. Oh, I'm not gonna want. Oh, oh yeah. That's about it. So yeah, whew, we'll see if that was worth it. Oh, I'm sure that anything extra will be good. What the hell is that? Chicken feather on my shoe? Oh no, okay, that's something else. But so yeah, excuse me there for a minute. Just wanted to throw up having to smell that for so long. But yeah, I don't usually add fertilizer to nothing, and if I am, it's going to be obviously natural. And I did those, and I kind of started getting pretty thick and down to the bottom over there on those, so I don't know, I'm going to have to do something with that. I don't, a lot of the tomatoes aren't looking too bad. They're looking pretty good. You know, like that one right there is about 2 feet tall. So, you know, considering that they're just in wood chips, and the only thing I've done to it is just throw some chicken shit on there. Just now. You know, like this one's really doing good. Look at this one. Look at that bad boy. And almost all of these are cherry tomatoes too, so don't need to give nothing to that one. These littler guys, these smaller ones, we'll see how it does. I'm sure you'll see the progress of the tomatoes later on. And it's not like we're eating the roots of the tomatoes where we're eating, you know, chicken poop. You know, if it was carrots or something like that, that'd be a totally different story. But A lot of this is all going to be broken down the more it rains, and you know, if it doesn't rain, I'll water. This is the first time I've watered in about 2 weeks, and I don't water nothing. I don't water my food forest at all. But if I've just put something in and it hasn't rained in a couple days, and I notice it's, you know, I'll spot water it with a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. But yeah, I just recently got some more hose attachments to water this out here with the sprinkler, which is it's been doing pretty good. It's kind of like a backup. If we get enough rain, I don't need to water it. Why would I? Would I waste my well water and stuff? But this morning it looked like it was getting really cloudy and wanting to rain, so I threw the sprinkler on, and we'll see how it does. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Ooh, that's ripe. Oh yeah, that's ready. Ooh. Whew. It's in my nose. Ugh. So you're gonna have to add nutrients to it. I came back over here. Oh my gosh. Oof, I need to get that thing away from my house. Since I got rid of them. Add some water to it and see if it'll help the tomatoes out there. And